Hello, welcome back, or welcome if you're new. My name is Lady Snow, owner of Lady Snow Meditation. Today's topic is understanding people with disabilities by request. Okay, first I'm going to talk about what exactly is a disability. A disability is a impairment or something that causes you to struggle and limits your ability that is different than other people, such as a physical impairment or a mental impairment. A disability can be anything from being in a wheelchair to honestly being stressed out. Sometimes, like PTSD is a very stress triggered disability, and it's based on stress. There's a lot more in it, but it's trauma created and like that. And then like ADHD, you have trouble focusing, and that's just some examples. Those other examples, they affect people differently. But I do want to mention, before I mention anything else, that being toxic is not a part of a disability. Sometimes when people either don't understand what a disability is, or when they with people with a disability, people with a disability, I want to say this is not common, but it does happen. So if somebody with a disability is saying um they do toxic things, actions like treating people badly or whatever, similar to that, that's not a disability. Now, um like PTSD things, sometimes flashbacks can happen, or and stuff like that, and it can cause violence, but like, but not always. But the personality traits of a toxic person is not because of a disability. It's a personality trait. That's, you should very clearly understand that if somebody's toxic, that is not a disability. That is a personality. And if it is, of course, you need a should understand people. Like, there is toxic stuff that can come off a person with a disability, such as being bipolar. Sometimes people snap and they don't mean to, and sometimes it's stuff like disabilities like um not understanding the situation, and sometimes because they don't understand, they get angry or something like that. Or I just had a one other one, but I totally just spaced out. Just pretty much, sometimes it does, and does affect a person's mood, and sometimes they can come off badly, but or like, but it's their responsibility to get the proper treatment to treat their disability. So they have no excuse to mistreat other people or do any of that. They need to do what's responsible of them. Yeah, something to know about people with disabilities. You should treat them just like anyone else. Like, you shouldn't stare at them. You shouldn't act like they're like not as important, or I'm just saying common things that happens, um not as valued or not as smart, or you should just treat them like one another, like another person, like um like how you would just treat somebody you just met. You should like just get to know them as them and get to know them, and the disability doesn't really matter, and if it does come up, they will I let them initiate and let them bring it up, and if it's in the conversation, it's in the conversation, but if they don't bring it up, don't bring it up, because there's no reason to. Just, that's the thing. Some people don't want to be friends with people with disabilities for whatever reason, or or because they think that, well, people with disabilities are hard to deal with or something, and that's not fair to people with disabilities, honestly. And you should just treat them like respectfully, like you would treat anybody else. It is a right to ask questions, however, be respectful about it. Like, if you're dealing with somebody in a wheelchair, like asking them how they drive or how they get things done is okay, but like, just be like, if you feel like it's impolite to say to another person, just don't say it. Or like, sometimes people struggle um with understanding things, so asking them questions to better understand the situation is actually okay. Just don't, like I said, just be respectful when you do that. Don't assume that people with disabilities are stupid, because a lot, I should, they're not. They just may not have the skill sets you have, and some have even more skill sets than people without disabilities. Like, right now, like, I personally have PTSD. I have fetal alcohol syndrome. I have ADHD. I have a number of other disabilities. But the thing in a speech impairment, obviously, but I don't really think of it as, it's a little bit different. But I can tell you I'm one of the smartest person that a lot of people know, and I actually am about to graduate in like a week and a half, with a 3.8 GPA. So, from college. So that tells you a little bit about um people with disabilities. They're not incapable, and honestly, they're very capable, and honestly, to be frank about myself, for people with disabilities, I have accommodations for schools such as extra time for tests and homework, but that's mainly because of ADHD. But other than that, I don't really have accommodations other than extra time. So I'm doing the test just like everyone else. It's not easier for me, it's not harder for me. Actually, it's easier for me because I'm just smart. But yeah, so that's something to know and realize and maybe ponder as well. People with disabilities are different, so make sure you treat them like a new person when like so if um yeah, treat them like a new person. Sorry about that, I got confused for a second. But like don't assume that people with disabilities are very um the same. Like if somebody struggles with something such as learning, somebody else with a disability might not have a learning disability, so they might not struggle with learning or understanding. So you should really meet them where they are and try and ask more questions and just like because you don't want to limit people to what you think they're capable of. And that happens when people don't understand people with disabilities. Yeah, and another thing to know, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but ask before you help people with disabilities because um because like if you over help somebody with the disability, that could be working against them, or they could actually get annoyed with it. Like because a lot of people with disabilities try to do things themselves a lot and as much as they can do by themselves, so let them um do what they can do by themselves. If they turn around and ask for help, then help them, but don't like assume and treat them like a child. Like you should never treat a person with a disability like a child because they have a disability, they are not a child, and they deserve to be treated with respect. Unless they are a child, then that's slightly different, which this is just about people with disabilities. If you want me to go over kids with disabilities, that'll be a different video. But because it's specific to that. And honestly, it's a lot different. Um and yeah, just if you want to make it aware to them that if they need help, they can ask. You can say that, but don't force your will on another person. And definitely, I don't know if this actually happens, but just because somebody's got a disability doesn't mean you should help them out with money and stuff. You should, if people ask for help, help them. But if they're not asking for help, assume they don't want help. Or ask if they would like help before you help them because it can become um overwhelming and annoying and disrespectful. Over helping somebody with a disability is extremely disrespectful. Even if you don't think it is. And a good thing to know, discrimination does happen to people with disabilities. So sometimes people with disabilities will be um difficult, sometimes based on the past experience, or sometimes they will be kind of like they don't trust you, or they just might snap easily. Like, honestly, um, yeah, just I know that they may come from a place that they worked, a place that they lived, a place that there's a number of reasons, and the thing to know, like me, I do volunteer work, I do school, I do my job, but honestly, people with disabilities, I do want to stress this, but people with disabilities are on Social Security because they need it, and they're not lazy, they're not taking advantage of the system. The money's there because their limitations are needed. Because the limitations makes it difficult to keep up, or a number of different reasons. But just to understand that, I know some people think that people with disabilities take advantage of the system or whatever, and that's not what it is. Sometimes they try to get work. Like, I've been discriminated on in the workplace, because I'm not going to say in this video where, but yeah, those places that discriminate, and honestly, it's hard to find a job when you have a disability, um based on lack of experience, and based on just people just expect you to that you can't do things, which is really sad, actually. But or they never give you a chance, and then they turn around, and sometimes, like, somebody will be working for them, like those, like, Ticket to Work, and they try to get a job, and Ticket to Work allows somebody with a disability to hold a job for, I think, a year, if I remember right. I think it's a year. And sometimes employers will file them at the last minute, and then they get screwed over. So um employers take advantage of the system and take advantage of people with disabilities, because what happens with um people with disabilities is the state, or is the government, I think, will pay for the employer to work there for a year, and they sometimes they will so they won't have to pay, they'll get free work, so they'll get it till it runs out, and then they'll be like, bye. You're not allowed to do that, but it's really, really hard to prove. And there's not enough discrimination laws and policies to really stop it, to be quite honest. And then something the last thing I want to say with people with disabilities is just be patient. Like, if they say they struggle with something specifically because they struggle, just give them a little bit more time than you might give somebody else. Just be patient. People with disabilities are people too. And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, though, like I said before, sometimes they're the smartest people you can know. Sometimes they'll, they're just good people. Sometimes they got good hearts, and you just don't want to miss out on having be, missing that. But yeah, be sure to like, subscribe, and share my video, and click the bell notification to stay updated also like me on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram as well. I also have a fan page on Facebook and Instagram that I will put a link to in the space below. Stay tuned. I'm getting ready to start up my restaurant Tree Cup where I will be selling local chocolates from different cultures around the globe. I'll also put a link to that one below. I also have a fan mailbox now, so if you would like, you can send me fan mail. I would love to hear from you all too, so leave a comment below. You're welcome to ask any questions or suggest a topic as well. I'll see you next Wednesday at 8 a.m. Love you all. Have a wonderful day.